So for this video, I wanted to talk about the dark side of Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is associated with fortune, luck, abundance, in some cases wealth, expansion. And while a lot of those themes are certainly true, especially when it comes to ruling over abundance and expansion and inflation, there is a side of Jupiter that I feel is a little bit overlooked. So when we think about the planet of Jupiter and you're actually looking at it, there's a giant raging storm on Jupiter all the time. I believe it's called the red spot. So Jupiter just forever has this raging, insane storm at all times. That definitely translates into its actual presence in astrology in our birth charts. Now, keep in mind too, Jupiter rules over Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is kind of lumped into this conversation here. Now, in terms of Jupiter dealing with some more unfavorable themes, the expansive and abundant nature of Jupiter can lead to indulgence. It can lead to recklessness. It can lead to lack of impulse control. In some cases, it can lead to selfishness. It can be very greedy. And this can have a lot of issues. So obviously this can lead to substance use, excessive substance use. This can lead to a lot of drinking. This can lead to even gambling. This can lead to certain addictions that lean in favor of fleshy, physical pleasures, if you get what I'm saying. So that's how that indulgent, abundant, and expansive nature of Jupiter and Sagittarius can manifest in our birth charts. Now, the kind of the deeper root here is, in a lot of cases, nihilism. Now, Jupiter is very philosophical. It deals in education, it deals in culture, it deals in things that are foreign to us. So Jupiter inspires a lot of reflection. It inspires a lot of philosophical belief systems, spirituality, different religious beliefs, things like that. Now, in youth, a lot of people that have prominent Sagittarius influence, prominent Jupiter influence, so like Jupiter in the first, Jupiter in the fourth is another really big one, Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius Mars, people who just have that prominent Sag energy, a lot of the times they undergo an event that leaves them feeling abandoned or blindsided. So Jupiter, in dealing with travel, it also deals in distance, it deals in absence, it deals in separation, and again, it deals in things that are unfamiliar to us. So there is a lack of comfort here. There is a lack of familiarity. In a lot of cases, there is a lack of security. So it's not uncommon for people that have prominent Jupiter energy in their chart to undergo some type of abandonment in youth. Now, this could note losing a parent. This could note, having a parent that just leaves, abandons, opts out of the child care experience, doesn't want to be a parent anymore. This could note having people in your family dynamic, especially if you have Jupiter in the fourth or a Sagittarius fourth. This could note having people in your family dynamic that are not biologically related to you. This could note having step parents, step siblings, and the same could be true in a lot of cases if you have Moon in the ninth house. The ninth house is thematically associated with themes of, travel, culture, things that are foreign to us. So there is some intersecting qualities between the ninth house and Jupiter and Sagittarius. So if you have like Moon in ninth, Moon ruling over family, or a Cancer ruled ninth, Cancer also ruling over family, that could also note having a sense of distance and absence in the family dynamic. So that said, people that have that prominent Sag Jupiter influence, yes, they do tend to have abandonment issues and they tend to have attachment issues. Now, these abandonment concerns, these attachment concerns, this can lead to a lot of reflection and a lot of that philosophical ideology that we associate with Jupiter and Sagittarius. So there's this quest, there's this hunger for knowledge, for understanding, and for clarity in an attempt to kind of make sense of, certain events and circumstances that they've undergone in youth that have left them feeling at a loss, that have left them feeling abandoned, neglected, feeling like the universe has not protected them, was not there for them, basically. So this is what can also lead to certain like religious traumas, certain, opting out of the idea that there even is a god or that there's like a higher power. And a lot of people with Sagittarius influence, a lot of them can go on to be atheists, and this is where that kind of ties into what I was saying earlier. There's, in a lot of cases, a sense of nihilism here. And in some cases, depression. And that nihilistic energy can lead to hedonism, it can lead to, again, that indulgent, expansive, inflated nature of Jupiter, where they're so insatiable. They're basically trying to fill the void. So they do it with, again, gambling, substance use, excessive partying. They do it with excessive travel in a lot of cases. So Jupiter dealing in travel and Sagittarius dealing in travel. A lot of the times, that kind of nomadic spirit, where do you think that comes from? It comes from that feeling of abandonment. It comes from that disconnect, feeling like they don't really belong anywhere. So it inspires that lust for travel, that lust for experience and knowledge. So they're very much seeking and searching subconsciously for a home, for a place that they belong in. So that's why, they'll go backpacking through Europe, they'll go backpacking through Asia, they just go on all these crazy adventures. People with prominent Sag Jupiter influence, they're the type of people that are, in a lot of cases, they hop from location to location, again, in that subconscious search to find their place, to find their home, to find a sense of security. So those are kind of the darker themes that you can see with Jupiter. Now, if you have Jupiter in the 12th or the 8th, or you have a Sagittarius 12th or 8th, that can definitely note having insatiable behavioral patterns, that can note a lot of substance use, usually notes a need to rehabilitate and to undergo a sense of spiritual healing. So people that have Sag 8th or Sag 12th or Jupiter 8th, Jupiter in the 12th, there can be some religious trauma there. There can be, a sense of feeling abandoned or neglected by your family, feeling let down by the universe. And it can lead to existential crises as well. So all of that to say, Jupiter as a planet, very, very complex. In some cases, yes, it can definitely point to where we can receive our fortune and our abundance and our luck. But in a lot of cases, its presence can have a really, really dramatic and at times devastating impact in our lives, depending on where it is. And not just that, but Jupiter, and maybe one day I'll get more into this, I study forensic astrology, and Jupiter plays a pretty prominent role in people's charts who, go on to engage in behaviors, again, where, there's this sense of insatiability, there's this nihilism, there's this abandonment of morality, of ethics, because there's this kind of innate belief that nothing really matters. And that's what can inspire those hedonistic tendencies. Now, okay, people, just because you have prominent Sag or prominent Jupiter energy, this does not mean that you are like a bad person. This does not mean that you're going to necessarily give into some of these behavioral patterns and qualities. This is just how that energy can manifest for some people. It by no means is like the rule of thumb, it's not set in stone. You definitely need you need to see the whole chart to know for sure, basically. But it is worth talking about because I think Jupiter as a planet, it's really, really powerful. It's really profound. It's really strong. It's a powerhouse in a lot of cases. And Jupiter in transit as well is also really powerful and strong. So again, worth noting, I think a lot of people project certain traits and qualities onto Pluto that actually kind of apply a little bit more to Jupiter. So for example, people will associate loss with Pluto, and that loss can definitely be there, but a lot of the times with Pluto, it's a metaphorical loss, or perhaps a loss of like material goods. Jupiter could note like a hardcore loss, and this could be, again, like an existential crisis. This could be the passing away of someone, if Jupiter's in transit especially. So anyway, just an interesting video to kind of hopefully broaden your perspective on Jupiter as a planet, especially for people out there that have prominent Sagittarius influence. I'm not sure if you feel frustrated by a lot of the discussion around Jupiter, like being really lucky. I would imagine that it feels a little bit invalidating at times to the struggles and the difficulties that you do go through in life. I think people write off Sagittarius as just like the lucky sign, but there's a lot more depth and nuance to Sagittarius and Jupiter. So let me know in the comments what you think, if you relate to this at all, if you identify with this, and if you are interested in receiving a reading, my website link is in the description.